Hi guys, welcome. This is Players to the Core. My name is Stephen Dawes. Thank you for joining me. Today is going to be a overview of the Brentford game. So if you haven't seen it yet or you haven't heard it, go and check it out before you come back here, because I will be giving away spoilers. Not that there was much to spoil, unfortunately. It was a game I thought might be a little bit difficult. I know that Brentford's away form hasn't been the best, but then our home form hasn't been the best. So it seemed a bit even from that point of view. But in terms of the side, we put out a fairly decent side. I mean, we had Hughes and Lerma in the middle, as we have done obviously because Doucouré has picked up that knee injury. Riyad wasn't in the back there, but we had Richards in there. So I thought that we had a squad that's established, it's settled, good squad. But really, the game was pretty dull, to be fair. It wasn't the fact that, I mean, the caveat is the weather. The weather was absolutely atrocious. It was wind, it was rain, it was howling, swirling around the ground. It was awful conditions. But I still think that despite that, our performance wasn't what we've come to expect from the last recent weeks, and that was disappointing for me. But anyway, first half was, I think it was a fairly even situation, really. They had some chances at the goal. We had a couple of chances. JP Mateta had an early shot, which was saved by the goalkeeper, as did they, which was saved by Dean Henderson. So I thought it was fairly equal, to be fair. My issue, well, throughout the whole game, but in the first half to begin with, was how slow we were playing it. Now, I know Brentford like to slow the game down, but we were slowing the game down. We were getting the ball and, we weren't doing the quick passing. Occasionally we'd do a quick pass here and there, but most of the time it was slow, it was deliberate, it was, get the ball, look up, what's going on, who's running, and there was nobody running, or very, little running going on. So they'd be looking up with the ball and they'd go, pass it sideways, pass it backwards. And that's how it seemed to be, to me anyway. It just seemed to be that we were too laboured. There was one point in the first half where SA got the ball and literally stood there for what it seemed like 30 seconds. It wasn't, it probably more like 10 seconds, but he just stood there and looked, and there was nothing. Everyone in front of him was just standing still. And so I think that we lacked a bit of movement, we lacked a bit of intensity in that first half, and in the second half, for most of the second half anyway. But yeah, we just didn't seem to be up for the game. And I don't know whether that was the conditions or whether there's some other reason for it. I don't know. But we just didn't seem to be up for it. And, we had our chances, as did Brentford. But Brentford seemed to be a little bit more for the game than we were. They seemed to be wanting it a little bit more than we did at that point. Even though, they didn't really give us a huge amount of trouble, as we didn't give them either. So, first half was really a little bit dull, and I thought second half I thought it'd be like we have been before. The first half we haven't quite been there. Second half we come out, we're a lot better, and we take the game to them and stuff like that. The second half was very much the same at the beginning anyway. Again, very slow and laboured from us. The odd quick pass here and there, but most of the time it was just, they were trying to get the ball down in between the defenders, which worked a couple of times, but most of the time it just got cut out. And so we just looked as though we didn't have our usual gumption, our usual intensity that we had. Jefferson Lerma was he and Hughes in the middle were doing what they usually do to a certain extent, but you didn't have, there wasn't that many like runs from Ismail Yassar. I felt that even Munoz wasn't quite on his game. He wasn't going forward with the usual ways that he has been, and it just seemed a little bit off to me. And so that's how it seems. So, but then was the penalty decision, and it was according to the to VAR and to the referee. It was Lacroix who put his leg out to get the ball. He was a bit late to the tackle and he ended up kicking the guy in the leg. So it was a penalty decision, which the guy missed. But because they said it was Gahey, but I think Gahey and Lacroix were encroaching a little bit as well by the looks of it. Anyway, because there was encroachment, they had to take the penalty again, and unfortunately this time he managed to put it away, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know what that guy was doing behind the players. He was like the Brentford guy who was just like running with his arms up before the goal had even gone in the net. The ball had even gone in the net. I think he was trying to put the keeper off. So I think really that penalty should have been taken again. But that's just my opinion. I think that's a bit of unsportsmanlike play, or whatever you want to call it. And I think it should have been made to have taken again. But anyway, that's just me. So yeah, so we were 1-0 down, and we kind of tried to get back into the game again. We were a little bit more faster, but again, it wasn't the way we normally play. It wasn't the intensity there. And then, unfortunately, we were going to make some changes, but the second goal then went in, which was a header. Ended up in a nasty clash of heads between Richards and the Brentford player, but they were both all right, thankfully. But even though there were players around him, he still managed to get the ball, managed to head the ball and run in the back of the net, which was a bit disappointing from my point of view. And so then, yeah, we were 2-0 down. And then we managed to bring on our substitutes, one of which was SA. And I felt that when that happened, I felt that we were perhaps a little bit brighter, trying to do a little bit more. And in fact, SA's very first touch of the ball was a goal. It made it 2-1. It was a nice little pass from Eze to Munoz, who put it across the goal, and Eze was at the back post to tap it in. And I thought it was a really good goal. It's great to see that his first touch of the game, first touch in a Palace shirt, got him the goal. He was obviously very pleased about it, as was the crowd. And what a great way to make a debut for your club. And for the rest of the game, I thought he actually did all right. I think, he was, obviously he doesn't quite, no one quite understands where he wants the ball yet. So he was pointing, he was going to put the ball over there. As soon as someone was getting the ball, he was like, I want the ball there. And he didn't always get the ball, but I like the way that he was trying to tell people, this is where I want the ball, so that they will eventually learn, this is how I want the ball to be delivered. So yeah, so I thought that was quite good. But in terms of the rest of the players, I felt that it was a bit disappointing. I don't think anyone had an outstanding game, apart from Esse, and that was, he scored the goal and looked very lively when he came on. I don't think anyone else really stood out for me, to be fair, because everyone just seemed to have an off game. And again, I don't know whether this is just because of the conditions or what it was, but to me, it just didn't seem to have the same energy that we normally do. But I think we should just put this one behind us. We'll go on to the next game, and we're not going to win every game. We're not going to draw every game. We're going to lose games eventually. And Oliver Glasner wasn't entirely happy with the way that we played either. But it's one of those things. I think we're just going to have to put that game to bed and move on to the next one. Hopefully, we'll be a lot better the next time. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about the game, as always, and I'll see you next time.